Telling our stories is the connective tissue of the collective human experience. The Just Keep Talking podcast delves into the lives and stories of artists. What is the impact of mental health on creativity? What does it mean to be a creative individual? Someone who feels deeply, experiences joy and pain intensely, and navigates the challenges of life through the creative process. With each story shared, we explore the authentic experience of our basic need to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. We're really not so different from one another, nor are we alone. Together, we can inspire, encourage, and enlighten each other to find the true joy and fulfillment that is within ourselves. When we just keep talking, we create the space for gratitude, self-acceptance, and grace in everyday life. In a world filled with divisiveness, fostering inclusivity and connection is a powerful way to make a positive impact. The Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters. Welcome one, welcome all to the Just Keep Talking podcast. My name is Brother Love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh my goodness, do we have ourselves a guest this week? Kenny Sharp, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am fantastic. I am so grateful that you're here.
Oh, I'm very grateful to be here.
I feel like I've known you because your music seeps into my soul and my soul thanks you.
Good.
Kenny Sharp is a singer-songwriter with a gender-bending sound dubbed brown liquor music. I'm going to read a little bit about you one more time here. Brown liquor music, because I'm like, what is brown liquor music?
Yeah.
It's described for us. Thank you, Internet. Right. Brown liquor music is an experience that takes you back to the warmth and richness of classic soul, where the music was as smooth and deep as a fine spirit. It's a celebration of love, life, and the moments in between. While it was rooted with the timeless voices of legends like Sam Cooke, Etta James, and Al Green, it has grown to embrace a wider range of sounds and influences, all united by the same core essence, music that makes you feel. It's about savoring the good times, understanding the bittersweet ones, and letting the music flow like a good drink shared with friends. That is you. In song, that is you.
I'm not going to lie. I think my man, he must have had the AI right there. That's credible. That's it.
That is what it is. That is who you are.
Yeah.
You came into Lightning 100. I was hosting the morning show, and you gave it to us. You gave it to us acoustically.
I'd call you from the road, like, babe, I'm almost home. You'd be ready when I got there, babe. Wouldn't have nothing on. Nothing but some brown liquor music play. You'd be sipping from a glass, something dark and smooth. Now soon as it hit your lips, running down every inch of your body, warm you up from the inside out, babe. Lord, like a hot toddy, yeah. And I lay it right there in your arms, and you'd whisper to me, you'd say, baby, this is where you belong. And next morning it was Sam Cooke and Anita singing while I'm cooking bacon on the stove. Otis Red and James Brown, Al Green, my favorite colors in the spectrum of soul.
I find it so amazing. You come in acoustically, it's like, wow, that's so cool. What a cool cat. What a nice guy. His songs are really good. He delivers with just a guitar and his voice. And then I went and saw your show at the East Room.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
And you melted my face. You melted my face. You really are the real deal. And you are such a nice individual. I mean, you're kind. You're a good guy.
I appreciate that.
So,
good parents.
You were born in Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you lived a lot in D.C. Your parents are Air Force people.
Yeah. They're both Air Force officers, and I grew up moving around. So Alabama was where I was born, and that's where my mom's family originally is from. They moved to Ohio when she was young. Like, our roots are in Alabama and then D.C. But yeah, I lived in Germany. My dad lived in New Mexico, Georgia, so all around.
Where in Germany were you? And you lived 3 years.
I was there for 3 years. Yeah, I was in Stuttgart with my mom, but my dad was based in Ramstein. We were two different. I'd stay with my mom.
I have been there, and I've played at a Kaserne.
Really?
I've been to Germany. I've been to Stuttgart.
Yeah.
I've been to Ramstein. I've toured all over Europe a few times.
Would you do like USL stuff? Or
No, I did a band in a van stuff.
Really? That's cool. It's really important to people over there, you know, and they get to see some entertainment, especially from back in the States.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there a few times. My first time was in the 90s. I'm a little bit older than you are. And it was a funk rock band. I was the drummer in a band called D-Trip. We were like Sly and the Family Stone.
That's cool.
It was a 7-piece band. It was the same instrumentation as Sly.
Damn.
And the band leader, his name is Shindig.
Shindig.
He's my
I like
mentor.
that. That's a great name.
Yeah.
I've never heard that as a name. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. I was young. I was in my 20s at the time. And I remember the guy who brought us there. He said, all right, D-Trip, pick which 4 people are going and we're going to go. And Shindig was like, nah, man, we're a band. We're 7-piece. And he's like, look, you're not going to make any money. That was the first time I realized I wasn't going to make a lot of money in music. But we went as a 7-piece band. And I remember we played this beautiful cassern. Can you explain to us, since you've lived there, what exactly a cassern is?
It's a bass.
But it was a bass that was for the
Tanks.
Germans.
It's a German bass before World War II, and then we overtook them.
Being in this a massive room, right? First of all, everything's color because we're there and we're living it. But we see it all in black and white.
Right.
This was a German bass.
Yeah.
We were the Allied forces that took over the bass.
Yeah.
I played music at one of those concerns.
That's one of the biggest takeaways, I think, from being over there. Those type of realizations where on one hand you see, wow, this is different. Like, this is a German bass. But at the same time, you're like, oh, dang, like I didn't even think about that. Like, people are similar wherever you are. It's the similarities and the differences. You know, they got McDonald's over there, but the ketchup tastes a little different. But you know what I mean? It's like their military base looks kind of like ours, but it's a little when you start realizing, you're like, oh no, this was definitely a German one. Like, it's slightly different, but there's a lot of similarities in it. They're moving. They're like, oh, people, you know, across the ocean I've never met before. It's just people.
They're just people.
Yeah.
We are all just people.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Everything you say, it sounds like a song. It really is. So what do you consider as home for you?
DC.
DC. Okay.
DC is home.
Right on. And you've spent some time in Muscle Shoals. I see that.
Yeah, that's where my family's from. That's where my mom was born. That's where my grandma was born. That's where roots are. And I started working there when I started taking trips here. My good buddy David Messy, he started working with a writer that works down there. It's only 100 miles from Nashville. So.
Yeah. I have a wedding down there in a few weeks. I got to record in Fame Studios a few times.
Yeah.
And I see you work with Spencer.
That's my
Spencer
boy.
Coates.
Spencer Coates.
I
Speak Coates.
Love Spencer.
Really?
Absolutely. We've worked together.
He's a great man.
He's a great man. So how long have you been in Nashville?
Nashville, just over 3 years.
Did you come here like, I'm going to have a career, or it was like, wow, I have a career, I better get there?
I had a career going. Honestly, I didn't choose here. I kind of came here secondarily because I signed to a publisher. First, I signed to an artist. He's from Miami.
What do you mean you signed to an artist?
I signed to an artist named Lunch Money Lewis.
Okay,
and I was signed to be like developed as an artist and a writer under him. And so I would be between Miami and LA.
Right.
Then I got signed to Prescription Songs, to Luke's company, Luke's publishing company, Dr. Luke. That was kind of my introduction into the pop world and the industry of songwriting in that way, not just pop, but like sync things. They had a good team, but I was out of the LA office. And then the office here, they had opened up. So I started taking trips here every once in a while.
But you were living where at the time?
I was living in DC. So I would
DC.
bartend Friday to Sunday, and then Monday to Thursday, I would either go to Miami, Nashville, or LA for like a year or so. I stayed here for 6 weeks, and I stayed in LA for 7-8 weeks when I was trying to decide finally where I was going to move.
Right.
And I picked LA, and then COVID happened.
Right.
This just made way more sense. Everything was opened up back sooner. Writings were happening sooner. You could play live, and then we started going to Muscle Shoals. So for the music I was making, it just felt better to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to read a little bit about you. Kenny's songs effortlessly weave together disparate styles and powerful vocal performances and natural storytelling instincts. Now, I had to look up disparate because you know what? I'm like, I know what this means, right? And then I go, well,
It's one of those where you get the feeling, but you're like, all right, what exactly?
Right. So according to Merriam-Webster, who's my go-to, all right, disparate, markedly distinct in quality or character. Okay. You are very distinct in quality and character. There's only one of you. Yeah. Containing or made up of fundamentally different and often incongruous elements. Yeah. Now I'm looking up incongruent. Incongruent, not harmonious, incompatible at times, but no, I like this one. Not conforming. It's inconsistent within itself. These are things that I find interesting about you. You are very distinct in quality and character, and you have different elements that aren't necessarily things that we know to get
go together.
Right. You are what I would call the perfect gumbo.
Gumbo is I gotta make a song called Gumbo now. That is the perfect analogy
It's
for
the
what
perfect gumbo.
it is.
You have so many different influences. What did you grow up listening to?
So my mom and dad are obviously, your first two kind of influences because you're listening to whatever they had. My mom's a musician. My mom majored in music. She majored in music therapy. She's a Miss Teen Ohio and all. She could sing and dance and do all that. And then my dad is a DJ. He grew up always DJing. And,
So cool, man.
they both went in the military because back then they weren't really encouraged to like chase your dreams, so to speak. So they did all these things and they were creative. But when college came, it was like, go to get a job,
Right,
so
right,
they
right.
went to the military and that's part of why they support me now. They're all R&B, soul, funk.
Yeah.
But my dad's more like James Brown, Parliament, Funkadelic. And my mom's likes the prettier things like Earth, Wind, and Fire, the emotions, the stylistics. So it's a lot of that. But then for me, like when I started listening to what I wanted to listen to, my first stuff, it was like R&B. Usher was my first album.
Yeah.
My Way, his first album. Sure. And then it was like a lot of 90s, 2000s R&B, and then rap. I was a rapper until like 2015, 2016. Like I just rapped. Like I was on the radio in DC for rapping. I was on a lot of go-go remixes. I've been on songs with DJ Cool. The Let Me Clear My Throat. Yeah, he's a mentor of mine, and I was just rapping. So it was Jay-Z, it was Outkast. Like those are my favorites. Lil Wayne, Ludacris. Like I was just studying rap until college. I went to Washington and Lee University in the Blue Ridge Mountains out in Lexington, Virginia. And that's when I got introduced to kind of like the 60s in a sense. 60s and 70s music. It was like Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix. And senior year of high school, Red Hot Chili Peppers was the first rock band that I ever was like, oh, this is rock? I remember being like, this is rock. I like this. I just thought rock was like, like
Right.
that's all I knew.
And the other side was like, this is funk. The black community was like, wait, Red Hot Chili Peppers was funk? And the white people were like, this is funk. Okay. So what was the song that you heard or something that really took you like, wow, this is something that speaks to me, to my core?
Like, as far as inspiring me to want to do this?
Yeah.
I started writing songs when I was 12. I started rapping in the lunchroom. Like, that was you trying to freestyle battle to get the girls. I think it was just a lot of Outkast and Jay-Z. And then, like, singing-wise, there's a couple seminal moments, I would say. One is the first time I heard Amy Winehouse. I heard her singing, You Know I'm No Good. Mm-hmm. I was like, who's this girl singing? I was like, is this soul? And honestly, a lot of my influences are similarly like Gumbos. Like she was singing soul, but it was like jazzy chords, it's jazzy, funky, but then the grooves is kind of like hip hop, like boom bap almost. But then she's singing really pretty. But then it's like, is that a cuss word? Did she just say fuck? It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
That's fine.
That, seeing Kanye West open up for Usher. I saw Kanye West, College Dropout, open up for Usher Confessions. That was my first big show. Wow. I got a aunt, she's from Buffalo, New York. Like she's hood. Like she wears Timbs. She has a half German Shepherd, half pit bull at the time. And when I seen her bawling tears, like before Usher even sang a note, like he didn't even sing yet. Like the lights was going up and he's about to come out and all the women around me were crying. I was like, man, I want to do that. Like if your music can move people in that way, like it was overwhelming. And then Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, like just really getting into them too. And then Jimi Hendrix and Andre 3000. Those are two kind of characters that I really like, not just their music, but they're like who they were as people. Yeah. That really moved me.
So I get older now, because we all do.
Yeah. Right. Every day.
Because that like happens.
Right.
And I go, I should have been born earlier. My music is from a different time. Or the things that I love are from the past. I love everything from the 30s, 40s, 50s. The 60s and the 70s are seminal for me. But you feel present and current. Your music is definitely flavored from the past, but it's also now. Going to your show was such a fun experience. I felt so alive, and I felt the joy in the room, and there was a lot of young people, right? 20s, 30s, and maybe even a little younger, fine, getting into the bar, cool. Yeah. I just thought, wow, this is just perfect. Everybody belongs right here, right now, and you were spectacular.
Thank you, man.
Really?
I really appreciate that, man. And honestly, you really perceived it the exact way I guess we intended it, which means a lot. That's how I wanted to feel, like a big family reunion and party. That's the whole essence of it, the soul of the Brown Liquor music. Songs that we all feel good about, where it's like, there's certain stuff that transcends its own genre, like Hank Williams Sr., Johnny Cash. Yeah, it's like country, but there's people that don't like country that like Johnny Cash, that don't listen to, you know what I mean? There's people that don't like rap, and they're like, oh, but Andre 3000, he's cool. You know what I mean?
We don't have to compartmentalize it.
Exactly.
And that's where I think it gets tricky. You're in the business. Like I've met, you have a manager, PR, you have people that are your team, and they are industry people. Yeah. And it's very easy for an artist like yourself to get caught up in the compartmentalizing, to try to perform and please and prove to everybody. You are effortless, my friend.
Man, I hope it seems that way. The topic you're just talking about too is something we actively deal with a lot. The disparate styles is something definitely a lot of the industry people, even within our team, the difference between like, all right, who's Kenny Sharp and what is Brown Liquor Music? Is that the name of the band?
Right.
What does that mean? Some people, it's confusing. To me, it's not as confusing. It's kind of just like the sonic brand and world that Kenny Sharp Music lives under. When me and Brett, my business partner, started this, the idea he came to me with, like, because I told him the whole Brown Liquor Music, like my vision, but like I didn't have it kind of crystallized yet. And he was like, oh, like Jimmy Buffett. I was like, well, yeah, whatever. Like I knew who Jimmy Buffett kind of was, but like I was like, yeah, sure, Brown Liquor Music, Jimmy Buffett. Like, what do you mean?
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
He just started saying it over, and he's like, Margaritaville, dude. Margaritaville.
Right. It's a brand.
It's a world beyond. He's like, if you make a world bigger than yourself, then it just has a longer term and wider spread value to other people. You could have a Brown Liquor Music Festival and you don't even have to play. You have Erykah Badu headline or something. It's an idea. It's a world. It doesn't just depend on if you're singing the songs.
Wow. I have a world bigger than myself, and I'm the only one who lives in it. So it sounds very like, is anybody in here? There's nobody in here. Why am I the only one in this world? But you brought everybody together into the world, into the club. Because I was curious, how did Brown Liquor Music come to be?
Yeah.
The term, the song.
Yeah, at first it was just a song, and it was really just my neighbor down in D.C. and in Alexandria, in Virginia, where my parents live. Our neighbor, Miss Linda, she's from the Mississippi Delta, you know, and she's very high up in finance and stuff like that, but she's a country girl, you know. It was my mom's birthday. We were riding back from the restaurant, and my dad has some Otis Redding on, and Miss Linda, she just hollers out. She said, "Ken, turn that up." Me and my dad had the same name. She said, "Ken, turn that up. That's Brown Liquor Music." Ah! It just struck me. It was such a like crazy name, but like I heard it all my life, but it was new at the same time. And it made a lot of sense. And I was like, this is all the music I love. So at the time I was like, I got to make this a song. And I had been rapping this whole time, rapping. But I had been feeling at the time, I've been listening to Kid Cudi. I've been listening to other rappers that are doing more melodious things and starting to sing. And I started taking little voice lessons, and I was like, I'm gonna just write this on the guitar. Like, I'm tired of going over beats and doing this. I was like, I think I want to do something new. That was the first song that I ever sang. That was the first time that I was like, I'm gonna write a song, like not a rap, like a song on the guitar. That was the first one. It took me about a month. I worked on that song for like a month, like very, very intensively. I was obsessed. I was just like, I gotta make this song. And part of the song is actually a true story from my uncle. There was a fight, and she swung an iron skillet at him. And she fell. She missed him. She fell. And fell on the floor. It was the whole thing. But yeah, that's how it started.
That's incredible. A lot of singers try to rap. The fact that you were a rapper that became a singer, to me, I would be scared out of my mind, because this is a different voice. This is your voice. It's all your voice.
I felt like I found home. That was a struggle of mine with the rapping, and I didn't feel comfortable. At that point, I was 25, 26, like getting older. I had a manager, Chuck Brown, legendary Chuck Brown. His manager kind of mentored me through the Grammys, the Recording Academy, and he was like, yo, to be a rapper, yo, like your story and what you want to do, how your life is, like, do you want to show up for shows and this time? He was like, you need to think about that. You're 27. Right. Like, what do you want to be doing for the rest of your life? Like, how are you viewing this? I didn't used to invite my mom to my rap shows. Like, I was in like,
she would have been so proud.
She would have definitely, but I couldn't do it. It would have been too awkward. And so when I found singing, I was like, oh, this is something I can show my grandma. Like, this is something I can send to my grandma, and she'll get it and she'll appreciate it. And that meant a lot to me. It made me like comfortable. And then the guitar on stage, it felt like armor or something. It felt like a lot easier to do that than to like be rapping just with a DJ. Like, I like being with a band. I knew that. I don't know. I think with our age group too, a lot of people started kind of doing that. Leon Bridges, he used to rap. Yep. He used to rap, and then he started singing. Even Shabuzi now today, you know, Shabuzi was a rapper. Shabuzi's from DC. Like, he's from the same place I'm from.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's from Northern Virginia. He's from like Alexandria. He was a rapper. He's a Nigerian guy. You know what I mean? And then you kind of find something where it's like, okay, this feels like home, you know?
Yeah. So feeling like at home takes a lot of authenticity, which takes a lot of vulnerability. And it takes a lot of taking care of yourself. Do you take care of yourself?
I try to. But I feel like especially the past 6 months, have been really strong for me.
Strong or struggling?
Strong.
Oh, good.
In that way. Well, both, honestly. I mean, sometimes the struggles give you strength, in a way.
There you go.
I quit drinking. That was like a big thing for me.
I was going to ask because I quit drinking as well.
Really,
I was the best drinker in the world. Oh,
I was the best.
I was the best drinker of all.
I had to retire.
Oh, man, forget it. You're a Music City Mayhem champion. Yeah. I'm an alcoholism champion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was a real champ.
Yeah.
But I had to really take care of myself. Brown liquor music. Brown liquor to me is fight juice. My wife, if she has a little brown liquor on her tongue or on her lips, I'm like, that tastes like fight.
Yeah.
If I kiss her, I'm like, oh, hi, honey. That tastes like fight. So I was curious, do you drink? I would never judge you in a million years if you did. So you did quit drinking.
Yeah, I quit drinking. I'm a bartender, and obviously my company's brown liquor music. So that was a big part of my identity, I guess. This is the phrase they say, is like, not every time I drank, I got in trouble. But every time I was in trouble, I had been drinking. It wasn't like I couldn't control it all the time, but it's just sometimes where you just end up sick. Like I'm getting too old and then trying to sing. I'm still wrestling with that, trying to have your voice correct. Like it was the lifestyle, really. At the same time, too, it just felt good to cleanse. And then like on another level, tying back into the music, everyone that I've been around that did well in music, especially as an artist, they had like this period right before they blew up. And a lot of them were sober. My main mentor, Lunch Money Lewis, that I was signed to, he had a really good run in pop. He's still a big pop writer. He writes a lot of big songs. But when he was blowing up as an artist, he told me like that year he was living humbly in LA and he was doing 2-3 sessions a day and he wasn't smoking or drinking at all. He wasn't doing anything but music. And I felt like there's something to be said for when you give up something with an intention, especially to take care of yourself. I feel like it comes back to you. And I felt like there was a window coming for everything we've been building. And since I've been in Nashville, and I just wanted to be present for it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. The fact that you have had mentors, you mentioned this, you say it so easily, that really requires, A, somebody has to believe in you, and B, you have to believe in yourself enough to be able to know who you are, enough to know that you could use some mentorship, as opposed to, I know everything. Hey, man, I got it down. I know myself. They'll all come around and see it my way. I'm amazed by that. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's a strength. It's a vulnerability. That's really what it is.
I've definitely had a lot of good mentors and teachers. I'm an observant person. I'll take it in and I listen, and I just saw kind of in high school, I tell everyone this made a big impression on me. I went to a very big sports high school. I played football. The school is called DeMatha Catholic, and it's a huge sports school. Basketball, football, lacrosse, everyone, you're going there for a reason. And our football coach, most winningest coach in Maryland state history, you hear a lot about him when you're getting recruited to DeMatha. It's a Catholic school, so they recruit you in camps and all this. Sophomore year, like I'm getting into the rooms with the varsity team, and I'm looking at Bill because he's a very revered character. He's very tough. He's very serious, fires everyone up. He's the leader. But as I'm getting older, when I'm realizing on the team, I'm like, wait, he doesn't coach the offense. He's not the offensive coordinator. He doesn't coach the defense. He doesn't coordinate any of the play. He doesn't call any of the plays. He coaches the special teams. Like he knows the punt team, the kickoff, that's his time. Any other time, like as far as strategy and we're in meetings, film, study, he's not talking. He hired 2 people that he thought, is this how I want my offense run? This is how my defense run? And he lets them do it. He delegates. And he knows how to put the team together. And then he comes with the inspiration and the organization and fires everyone up, keeps us on task, keeps us like very driven. He runs a tight ship. But I'm like, you don't actually know this part. Not in a bad way.
No.
I mean, he knows what is going on. That's not his thing. He's a leader. Also coming from the military background where they teach you. And I was a junior in high school. I went to West Point for a little bit they have like a summer camp to see if you want to go. The idea there is like you're 18, you're going to graduate, be 22, you're going to be a second lieutenant in the Army. And at that time we were in war, and so it's like you're going to be going over to Iraq or Afghanistan. You're going to be in charge of a platoon with men that are older than you. They got families, they're 34, 35, and they're all enlisted men, and you're an officer, and you got to know that to gain their respect, a leader has to follow first. You got to let them eat first. You make sure they go to sleep first. You take the first watch. All these type things I observed. I felt like I had good leaders and mentors that were servant leaders. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's not necessarily about having the best idea or being able to sing the best, but if you can assemble a team and have a vision, that's sometimes a little more the way to go.
It's being mindful.
Yeah.
It's being mindful. I think the greatest gift we could give is to mindfully listen, to absolutely listen, not just hear what's going on, but to grasp the breadth of the moment entirely. When I've watched you do that, at the East Room. I had just met you. I met your manager. I felt a part of your family. You made me feel very comfortable. And I was so excited to go to the show, and I bumped into this one, and I knew a lot of people, and everybody I saw there and people that I knew all were filled with anticipation for joy. Is there a better way to say anticipatory joy?
I like that too.
Anticipatory joy.
Anticipatory joy.
Look at that.
That flows.
It does. And then I was talking to Emmanuel, your trumpet player. And we've worked together on records. He's played on Them Vibes Records, my band. Yeah. We've done a bunch of projects. And we were catching up. And then he goes, oh, sorry, I got to get out of here. I'm like, where are you going? And he goes, oh, I got to go play. I was like, huh? And I'm like, oh, yeah, duh. You know, I had no idea. And then there he was. And I watched the band get on. You start the show, not egotistically. You weren't on stage.
Oh.
The band started, and you had a singer. What was her name?
The one that led the first song,
Yes.
Carly Maffa. Another one of my friends, Italian from Jersey.
That's my point. Somebody else led the band. The band was kicking, they were smoking, and then all of a sudden there you were. But it was so genuine. I just can't help but to just root for you. I'm like, I like this guy.
Thank you.
He's not sticking it down my throat. He's not showing me how badass he is, even though he is.
I'm not gonna lie, that intro, not exactly the way it went down, but like I saw her do that medley at her show.
Huh, yeah.
A couple weeks before, she had her show at the basement. It was packed. She did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And then she hit that cover over the Bee Gees Staying Alive.
Yeah.
She does like a whole medley. And some of the songs we do too. And I was getting very nervous about the East Room like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
About what we could do for a fun intro and what I could do and like and then I was like, yeah. And I was thinking about her as I was like, man, it would be cool if she do something like, and I was like, man, why don't we just ask her to do it? You know, like maybe she should just do it. Like she'd have fun. She likes our band. She comes to our jam. All the band, they love her. And I was like, why don't you just come do that, hype the crowd up, and then that would, again, like as a whole, we're greater than if I just tried to do something.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you were listening and you were generous with it, and in turn, that just made for a great show. I love, Michael Singer. He's a author. He was famous for writing The Untethered Soul.
Okay.
He has another book called Living Untethered, and this quote came to me. It just kept going every time I saw you. And Michael Singer says on page 193 of Living Untethered, love wants to express itself and enthusiasm wants to create. That room was love and creation of more love.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What a great show. And he goes on to say, Michael Singer, another quote, if you are willing to experience the moment unfolding in front of you, you will have the opportunity to be inspired by everything. The simple fact that things exist will be sufficient to move you. And I thought, we're in the moment. Kenny Sharp is right here. You run a band, you work, you have tour dates, you do everything. And I thought, you're still present. You were able to accept the moment. And it really inspired me. And today, when I woke up and I opened up, I do my journaling in the morning.
I'm trying to get like that.
It really helps. It's therapeutic. I just vomit stuff on the page. Yeah. Get it out of the head office. Empty the head office and give me a chance to just be open to the moment. And I opened up. I've been reading Thich Nhat Hanh. He's a Zen Buddhist master.
Okay.
And
I feel I have seen that. Is he Vietnamese?
He is Vietnamese. Yeah. He's got a book right here. It's called Fear, Essential Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm. And I read this book all the time. And I just opened up to the page because I like doing that. I just opened up and say, boom, what's today going to be? And it just said learning to stop. And I thought, learning to stop. Being radically acceptance of the now, radically stop and listen and be present in the moment. And I thought, what am I going to bring to this interview? What am I going to do? No, I can't wait. I'm so nervous. I'm Kenny Sharp. He's so great. And I thought, just stop and remind yourself that we're in the moment. The reason why you like this person, the reason why you're moved by this person, and that actually we have an appointment together is because we listened to each other. Yeah. As simple as that.
Yeah.
And I saw you do that live, and I can hear it in your records. I'm moved by all of it, moved by you. So thank you for that. Yeah. The stage can be so unnerving. I look back to shows where I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so worried about what's next. I was so afraid. I was so thinking about, well, this happened in the past and I'm nervous.
I was terrified.
Were you terrified?
Yeah.
So please tell me a little bit, us, about your fears, about what happens in that moment, because I think you're able to transform it into something that's transcendental a little bit. So,
man, my fears, especially in that setting, you're scared of not doing enough. That particular night, I can identify specific things. Like I've been working with a performance coach, Alyssa JC. She's great. She's an artist herself. And we've been working on moves and like when the verse comes, step back like this or hop off the stage at this. And so I was like worried about missing my cue. She came and she was very supportive. I was worried about letting her down. I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'll be able to do all the moves. And and I didn't do most of them. But that was okay. She was like, we did good. But yeah, in my head, that's all I was worried about. Then I had Jackie was there and Russ was there. My whole team was there. All of my A&Rs from Prescription came and they never come to see a show. And so that was a lot of pressure for me.
So you had the suits at the show here. The suits are in the show here. Yeah,
right. Suits are at the show.
You know what? A few of those suits came up and said hi to me, and now I know who they are.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time. I'm like, oh, that's right, the publishing people. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it makes sense.
And so that was nerve-wracking, and then just nervous for the band. Lorenzo just got back from Italy the day before. We had one rehearsal. And then there was just some other like important people there. And then you just want to do good with your friends, which is also the reason, like once you kind of start getting going, it helps you that it's your friends and stuff. But yeah, it just felt like a moment we've been building to for a while and a lot of fears of that. And then just in general, zooming out just from that show, I think, you're just worried about, oh, I only have one shot, one chance, one song away, one moment that goes wrong or right. Like you can get in your head about those things.
Yeah, but you persevered and you got through it because you were in the moment. I mean, was there a little click where you said you had to push yourself, align yourself? Because that's why the work, quote unquote, the sort of spiritual digging that we do helps put building blocks in place.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm really out of my head and I'm afraid and I'm running on fear and anxiety, I'm absolutely upset about the past and I'm freaked out about the future. I have these building blocks little by little where I go, okay, just be here in the moment and it's going to be okay. Was there a moment that happened the other night at the East Room?
I tried to do it. It's almost like meditating where you're in it and then you might fall out and you got to notice, but be gentle with yourself. Like, okay, just chill, just breathe. And then, so it was like an in and out type thing, you know, and there's moments you snap out of it. There's a producer I work with, another Italian guy, Barry Zito. Barry Zito is a very famous MLB pitcher. He's a producer. He lives here and he's a songwriter.
The Barry Zito?
Lives here. You don't know that?
I'm a fan, but
yeah, I knew who he was, but we got to writing. He's a very interesting story because obviously he's very good at baseball, but his mother and father, they both encouraged music. He was like, when I was 11, 12, they were just like, you're really good at throwing a ball. When he was in the minor leagues and come out, he said he always took his guitar with him. And as soon as he finished baseball, he'd had a studio built and he lives here and he's had his own solo project. But anyway, I was talking to him about mentally preparing. I was like, when you were at your best, like what was your life like? What was your routines like? How did you take care? And he was like, the year he won the World Series, he had intentionally been different. He was getting into meditation and in the moment and not being too up or down on the next pitch. And that's what we talked about. And he showed me, he's like, look at Game 7 from the NLCS.
Right. The
bases were loaded. He walked me through like what his thoughts were like as this was happening. He got out of the jam and they went to the World Series and they won.
What was the team he won with? Was it the Giants? It was the Giants.
The Giants.
That's amazing. You've had the best mentors. This is amazing.
Yeah.
You could write a book, My Mentors. But it's true. Being present in the moment and being on the other side of that, being a person in the audience, you really were right there with us, man. I really appreciate it. So you do take care of yourself. You're on the road a lot. How do you grapple with all that? The road is tough, man.
So the next part, if I'm being honest with you, I'm going through a bit of a breakup right now. And that kind of was new. And this is my first time on tour. I've been on small tours as a background singer with my friend's band, but I never been on our tour. And we've gone out of town to do a gig here or do a gig there, but like never like on the road. We got a road manager, staying in Airbnbs, next spot, sound check, you know. And the first time was this past weekend. And I'm not going to lie, that was very lonely. It was really hard because it started to sink in. You're on the road, and there's the image of like, oh, girls' parties, you're on the road. Like, that's not usually what it's like. I've told her that, my girlfriends and ex, I was like, you know, we're not the Beatles, dog. It's not like girls are just running up, you know, like, that's not how it is. And I would prefer to be on the road, like, in a relationship. I'd prefer to have,
really nice,
you know, partner at home or something. I feel like that would make the road not as lonely.
I see so many women right now listening going like,
yeah, they're not. Yeah.
No thanks.
It was lonely. I got out there and I was like, dang, man. And obviously it's just new being apart from her. That definitely has been a lot, like mental health wise, as far as what you're talking about feeling things and just be still. a lot of my day-to-day the past week or two has been trying to not melt down.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for sharing that. That's important because people say, yay, I'm on the road, and that's it. It's a party.
Right.
And I've done it. I mean, that was my whole life. And then I would neglect everything else, be like, hey, I'm on the road. And people go, oh, yeah, he's on the road. And then, you know, okay. I married a touring musician, very, very successful. My wife, Sarah Tomek, famous drummer, Sarah Tomek. I don't see her anymore. Well, I see her this week. She will be leaving for the whole spring into the summer. She will be leaving for about 4 months. We did 5 weeks was our longest. Yeah. And how hard, I can't even tell you. It was so hard. It's comical. She comes home and I'm like, that doesn't go there.
Right.
I'm like, don't put that there. She goes, what the heck are you talking about? I'm like, that doesn't go there. We put that here. She
Here
goes,
now.
who's we? I'm like, Ringo and I. Our dog Ringo. It takes a toll and it's really hard. Being comfortable in your own skin and being okay with being alone is really something that's hard to do because you're the leader of the band. You are the party. Come on, man. Let's go. And you have to take care of your voice. Yeah. Physically, you got to make sure you eat as well as you can because that's really hard.
Adds up. Stopping at gas stations, you want to just get a snack, and it's like sometimes you got to be smart about what snack you're getting.
For sure. I was the lead singer of my band, so it was great. We toured Europe, and we did like 28 shows in 30 days. So for the band to be like, Larry, you have to be on vocal rest. In other words, shut up. Yeah. This voice of mine that just won't stop talking.
As you can hear, I'm hoarse now, and we're going back out Thursday or Friday, and I think that's what all week I'm just going to be trying to rest. I'm supposed to do a gig Thursday, and I might have to get another vocal support to help the gig. It's a 3-hour gig, and I don't think I can do that.
Well, you know what? You're kind and you are generous. So people will forgive if a voice is a little bit, I think so. I really do. I know it. I've been there, really, because I've thought, I suck. You know, how many gigs? I want this moment back, that moment back. And you know what we miss? The big picture. Yeah. These moments fly by so quickly. And most of the time people don't notice. Yeah, you're going to have your musicians. You know, we're in Nashville. People standing there being like, oh, I heard that. But you know what? We hear a good time because we feel a good time. And a good time sounds like it's to be had with Soul Through South tour. That's your tour.
Yeah, we're going to Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, which we're staying a couple extra days.
You got to.
And then Birmingham and Atlanta.
Man, you've had songs out over the years. Smooth in 2024, amazing. The Louvre.
Yeah, that one did really well.
The Louvre, folks, please, just check this out, okay? I listened to The Louvre on YouTube. I watched your video, and I fell in love with you. Like, I fell in love with you, dude. I mean, you know, it's like you're not my type, but I mean, I watched this DIY video. I felt like I was on vacation with you, and I was like, I can't wait to go back. Yeah. Will Kenny and I ever get back to the Louvre?
That was a crazy story. That we were on the way back from Italy with Pino. We had a 12-hour layover in Paris, and I shot that video. We went there. I have a photographer friend from LA who was in Paris shooting a shoot for Slam magazine. And he was like, I got a camera. I got 2 hours for my flight. And that's what happened.
And of course, we mean the great Pino. How does he pronounce his last name?
Pino Squillace.
Squillace. Yeah, see, I would never want to do it any misjustice because I, like you, have many Italian friends. I grew up in New York City. Yeah. Squillace.
Can't mess that up.
An amazing drummer. And he's an amazing soul. But I watched this video and I thought, this person is speaking directly to my heart. And that's what we call the X Factor, my friend. And you know what's so funny is that I heard the lyric and it's picture you up in the Louvre, like picture you up. But to me, it sounded like you kept saying, I picked you up in the Louvre. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, that's as sexy as anything.
Yeah, from a museum.
Like, Kenny, you picked me up.
From the Louvre, right.
Yeah, I felt like we met there and we were like, really? I had this whole vision in my head. Like, I'm looking at the painting and you're like, excuse me, what do you like about this painting? I'm like, I don't know. It's so cute. Oh my God, Kenny Sharp just picked me up at the Louvre. I mean, that's what the video was. But that's how approachable you are. Your music is great. You had new music out now. Gold Rush is the new EP.
I'm excited about that one.
So where did you record this?
We recorded it mostly here. We did the whole, man, Phil Towns produced this. And
wow,
he's a big,
wow, Phil Towns. Check out Phil Towns. Yeah. He's a producer that plays every instrument. So he produced your record. You recorded it in Nashville?
Yes. He's an Alabama guy. He was in Muscle Shoals. He was at Fame. He knows Spencer. He was the same year as Spencer and Noah. I don't know if you met Noah Shell.
Sure.
Noah's my boy. And he went on the road from Fame as the MD for Anderson East.
Wow.
So he's been producing with him for the last decade or so. And by way of that, like with Dave Cobb and a lot of those guys, he plays keys and a lot of Brandy Carlisle and Chris Stapleton stuff. And so I say that to say we kind of did a Nashville style in that way, like where we had the songs and then we went in with a proper rhythm section. And a couple of those guys that he plays a lot with, and they're all Chris Powell, Leroy Powell, man. Some of those guys, they're OGs. And I never had that experience, but we wrote the songs in Miami, like 3 or 4 of them. Then we wrote 2 of them smooth. We wrote in Fame, like at Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, man.
Spencer's on the writing, and then we cut him in Nashville.
That's so cool. Leroy Powell is another one. He's a good friend.
That's my favorite guitar player in the world. Like, all my guitar players, when we do our shows and they listen to what he do, they don't know what he's doing. They can't figure it out. He plays the lap steel. He plays harmonica, too. He goes crazy on the harmonica.
Yep, he's a wizard. He literally is a wizard. I've known him a long time. Much love to Leroy Powell. Kenny Sharp, I have a few questions. Would you like to answer a few questions?
Of course.
Beautiful. What fascinates you right now, these days?
Travel plans, like where we're going to go on the road and what the tour is going to be like.
What angers you?
Angers me, man, I would say, I don't know. There's some things that disappoint me or I've been sad about. Like I said, I obviously am going through a breakup. There's stuff I'm resentful towards, but when that happens, it's something more sad.
Right.
Just more sad, you know?
What angers you? What pisses you off? What gets under
I
your
feel like
skin?
rude customers, maybe. In my other job, I'm a bartender, and that is almost also like being on a stage, and you got to present to people and give your energy a certain way. So, I guess when someone comes in and they're like rude, that is the most prevalent thing where you get angry. You're like, "Dog, what do you mean? I'm trying to serve you something. Trying to help you out, right?"
What brings you joy, my friend?
My band, making music, everything that's kind of going on, my friends here. It does feel like a family and a community. That show is very healing in a way to be, going through this at this time, but then see all my friends and family, my Nashville friends and family here at the show. And we do this jam every first Sunday of the month at 1865. We call it a family affair, Sly and the Family Stone. And those things are very healing.
That's great. If you had a magic wand and you could fix one thing, like Kenny Sharp's magic wand moment, what would it be?
Right now, I don't know. I feel like we'd be on the road on a world tour or something, opening up for Shabuzi or Leon Bridges or something, you know what I mean? And be on the road right now. But I feel like we're on the path. Like, I feel like it's going well right now. I can't really complain. You take losses sometimes, you take lessons. It feels like things are in a good space. I'm real excited.
Good for you. I'm very happy to hear that. All right, this is the big one, man. Toilet paper,
Okay.
over or under?
I think if I have to choose, over.
Correct.
But I don't know. Is that correct? You said
Yeah, correct. Kenny Sharp, thank you so much. So where do we find all of things Kenny Sharp? Please.
Oh, man. So find me on any of your DSP streaming platforms. Kenny Sharp is the artist name. And if you're on socials, you can just look up the brand, just Brown Liquor Music. And then the website is www.brownliquormusic.live. It's spelled regular, straight up, nothing funny. No funny business.
No funny business. Not at all. Just loving business. Kenny Sharp, thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you, Brother Love.
Oh, you are so very welcome. I talked over your thank you. See? Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please like and share and subscribe. This show, the Just Keep Talking podcast, would be at the Just Keep Talking podcast on Instagram and Just Keep Talking podcast on YouTube. Please subscribe. Let's all stay in touch. Man, your story matters, Kenny Sharp, and I'm glad that we got to share it with an audience. This is fantastic. Thank you so very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you all for listening to the Just Keep Talking podcast. My name is Brother Love. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Our YouTube page is at Just Keep Talking Podcast. Instagram is at The Just Keep Talking Podcast. We have such a wonderful community here in Nashville. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, we are not alone out there. So don't forget to use your turn signal.